and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me as always is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
Hello, you alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. It's Thor Ragnarok week. Why are you laughing at me? It's been one of them. We've had a chat before the podcast. I think we're both tired and we're both like delirious. We're tiredness. So it's gonna be a complete train wreck.
But I'm also excited. Can I also start with a disclaimer?
Go on. What?
I forgot to watch it based on Loki.
Do you know what? I tried to watch it based on... We're going straight to the Thor review here, but I tried to watch it based on Loki, but
I just enjoyed it too much.
I know, yeah.
We'll work it.
We'll figure it out. That's what editing's for. I can edit this to make it not completely shit. Whether I do or not, I don't know. Anyway, we've got quite a busy week this week because there is quite a bit of news to go through. We've got... I'm going to tell Anthony because Anthony doesn't know what the news is, which is a shocker. But we've got Batgirl, Black Adam, DC's Super Pets, because I mean we're all excited about DC's Super Pets. Suicide Squad. We've got Army of the Dead news, Highlander news. I can't imagine anyone has said in a podcast for a long time we've got Highlander news, but we've got. I'd like to say it's exclusive, but it's not. It is if you want. It can be exclusive if you want. We've got Doctor Strange news, Thor: Love and Thunder news, What If news. The MODOK series got released this week, so talk about that a little bit. Anthony hasn't seen that. I can tell by the way he's looking at me. We've got the Eternals trailer, which I know Anthony has seen because I sent him the link. And then we're going to carry on our Loki countdown with the best Thor movie, Thor Ragnarok, which we're excited to go through. Yeah. And then after that, we're going to be discussing your thoughts on the movie and what your favourite part of it. We've asked listeners to get in touch, and we've had loads more than usual get in touch. So thank you everybody for letting us know your thoughts. We will put timestamps in the description to let you know when we're going to talk about each bit. So if you want to skip straight to the Ragnarok review, you can. There will be spoilers pretty much from now if we haven't already spoiled it, which is quite surprising. There'll be speculation as well, so we might spoil things. I know we always say this, but we will get it right one time. And then next week, just to let you know, we will be finishing off the Loki countdown because Loki's nearly here. The series.
I know. It's come around quite quick,
actually, hasn't it? Yeah. So next week we're going to squeeze in Infinity War and Endgame into one podcast. So if you just set your weekend aside, because it's just going to be like 6 hours of waffle, but we're gonna try it. We'll edit it down for you. If you do enjoy the podcast, as we always say, please do leave us a review, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Will be massively helpful and appreciated. It really helps us get noticed and obviously let new people find us. So, news then. So, we'll start with DC news. So, Batgirl, The Hollywood Reporter, reporting as they always do, have said that Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fowler have been hired to direct the movie. So, they directed Bad Boys for Life. I've not seen Bad Boys for Life.
I've seen Bad Boys for Life.
I've heard... What? Whoa, hang on. I've not seen it. Anthony's seen it. That's amazing.
I've watched it.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Is it entertaining?
It's basically they've been true to the way the Bad Boys saga was, and it's
you're bigging it up there, calling it a saga.
No, but you know what I mean. Like they've stayed true to kind of the originals and stuff, and made it the light-hearted, stupid jokes and stuff like that. There's just a lot of old men jokes because they're a lot older now, and it's that kind of thing. So yes, it's good.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was outstanding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch, but you wouldn't sit there and go, wow, it's going to be like Oscar nominated or anything like that. Okay, fair play. Well, they're directing it anyway. If it's maybe it will go down a bit more of a comedy route because I don't feel like apart from Shazam, anything in the DC's really had much comedy. But I suppose Batgirl's an opportunity. I just think it's good that we've actually got somebody attached to it because it seems like it's been in the works for years. Because Joss Whedon was attached to it originally, wasn't he?
I think so.
And then obviously Joss Whedon's not going to be attached to anything for a while. Black Adam news. The Rock has shared a sneak peek of himself as Black Adam. Have you seen the picture?
No, I haven't.
No, shocking. I'm going to say that all the way through. So he's released a picture anyway. You don't really see much. It's basically just him in a cape, and it's really dark, to be fair. So the whole...
I mean, he is called Black Adam. I'd expect it to be pretty dark.
Suit. Not like bright yellow or something like that. No. I mean, the picture's dark. I don't mean the suit's dark. See, if you'd seen it, we wouldn't have this problem. But it looks, it looks interesting. Again, it's just good that it's moving forward because it feels like another film that's just been in limbo for ages and nothing's been happening with it. So the fact that he's like in costume now, and it's
to be fair though, most films have been in limbo for so long because of one thing.
Yeah, but it does feel like most of the DC films have been talked about for years.
That's because Warner Brothers can't make a frigging decision.
I know, yeah, I couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, as we say. But something that we are getting, which seems to be moving much quicker than anything else, is DC's League of Super Pets. Okay. Which I don't know if I'm excited for. I don't think I am, but I kind of am. Deadline is reporting that The Rock is going to be voicing Crypto, the super dog, or super dog. You know who Crypto is, don't you? He's Superman's dog. Well, I think.
I mean, the name Crypto from Kryptonite, I'd kind
of gives it away a little bit. So this is coming May 2022, and Deadline is saying that Warner Brothers execs aren't really impressed with what they've seen so far, so they're trying to push it forward as quickly as possible.
I'm not taking that as gospel, to be honest.
Really I mean, I believe Deadline.
Warner Brothers were happy with Justice League before that came out, and look how that turned out.
And they're still trying to push it with trailers now. They still think it's good.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute train wreck. It's going to be awful in that case, isn't it? Suicide Squad, or the Suicide Squad news. James Gunn has done an interview this week with the Associated Press.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite interesting. He said that the Suicide Squad movie has got the biggest action scene he's ever done. It's 4 minutes long, and it revolves completely around Harley Quinn. And Margot Robbie's done like most of her own stunts for it, which is good. Which is good in itself.
Margot Robbie, you know,
she's boss, isn't she?
She is.
But then I'm just like, how big is it going? I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, both of them had some pretty big action scenes in them all the way through. So if he's saying this is the biggest one he's ever done,
it's got to be pretty big.
It's got to be pretty good. I'm assuming it's going to be involve that Starro monster.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Suicide Squad.
I mean,
it's probably the only
actually
DC film I am.
Rewatched. What was the last Harley Quinn film?
Birds of Prey.
I was going to say Birds of a Feather, and I knew that
was
wrong.
That was Pauline and Sharon. Doreen.
But like even that, like sitting back and watching that again, I really enjoyed all of the action scenes in that.
It wasn't a great film though, was it?
But it was entertaining again.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I think had Margot Robbie not been Harley Quinn in it, it probably would have had a completely different outlook on it. But I think she made the film.
Yeah. I think if it wasn't for her, it would have been. I mean, I didn't enjoy it. I can remember it kind of.
I actually quite liked the fight scene at the end in the like House of Horror thing. The clowns and all that. I quite liked it. I thought it was something different, and I liked the girl power aspect of it. Yeah. The fact that it was, the 4 or 5 women just kicking ass.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd say I probably enjoyed it, but again, it's one of them, isn't it? It's not a good film. No. It's like Suicide Squad. We went to watch the first Suicide Squad at the cinema, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we came out thinking that was really entertaining, but wow, what a bad film. How can you be entertained so much by something that's clearly terrible?
That was mainly because 45 minutes after meeting each other, they're all like, we're family.
Yeah, exactly. They're a family. Like Fast and the Furious. Non-DC news then, or Marvel news, we've got Powerpuff Girls news, as we said. So Deadline again. Deadline has been busy this week. All my articles, or most of my articles, are Deadline. Deadline's reporting that after seeing the pilot episode, the CW have asked for it to be reworked.
Have you read any of the script?
I've read parts of the script.
I've read parts of the script, and it sounds absolutely horrendous. The one thing I did like from the script is that they make a comment about the fact that their dad, the professor, gave basically the story away to be made into a cartoon.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
So basically,
very meta then.
In this world, it's basically that they created the Powerpuff Girls as a kids program.
Yeah.
Based on them. On them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I quite like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
But I also agreed with the fact that if Powerpuff Girls has been running, I mean that was running when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
we know the Powerpuff Girls by now.
No. What I mean is
real.
Like it's because it ran for quite a long time, and there are still episodes get aired on Cartoon Network and stuff aimed at 10-year-olds. So when they hear about this film coming out and then you see what's actually in this film.
Oh, really?
Like, it sounded like it was going to be, at minimum, a 15.
See, I've read that. I mean, I've read bits, but nothing that made it sound graphic to me or anything like that.
They're talking about meth addicts. One of the Powerpuff Girls has been an addict in it at the minute. Like, that's what was in the original script. There's one of them talking about sex all the time. Like, it's very, very adult.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's anything like I was expecting.
See, I read that it was.
But I did see that someone called Jojo was in the script, and I thought, is it Mojo Jojo?
It's his son.
Oh, is it?
It's supposed to be Mojo Jojo's son. The bit of the script I read said that Blossom had killed Mojo Jojo.
Oh, right.
Which again is quite dark.
I mean, yeah, but I'd forgive something like that. But talking about going into drugs and the sex and all of that kind of stuff, and they're very much pushing on one of them being a lesbian. And it's like, and I've got obviously no, most obvious person on the planet, I've got no problem with that at all. But again, I mean it's quite adult in how they talk about it and stuff like that. And I just, from what I saw from the script, I was like, how have they even thought that would be a good idea?
I think they probably just thought,
unless they're trying to direct it to the people that watched it when it first came out,
potentially.
So they're like the people that are my age that are in their 30s now that are going.
Well, I think that's the best. I think that's the best idea for something like that. To be fair, because it's.
But I don't think you can call it the Powerpuff Girls if that's the case. You should. Obviously, you can't change the name completely or anything, but you
could change it to a degree to make it still memorable. To
kind of segregate it that little bit from what the kids watch. I don't know, but.
Well, we'll see. I think it's good that they haven't. I mean, I thought if the CW are saying no, it must be. It must be pretty crap.
I think I read about 5 different pages altogether. Really? Yeah, I was just looking at people's Twitter feeds because they'd all screenshot different ones, and it just looked quite.
I think it's a good sign that they're not just, because I think they could have just put out, with it being the name Powerpuff Girls, they could have just put it out and it would have got watched. Yeah. So the fact that they've thought, actually, let's put something a little bit better quality out, it's pretty decent. They're not just putting out any rubbish. Army of the Dead news. So we did our bonus episode on Army of the Dead this week. If you've not listened to that, you can find that wherever you listen to the podcast. Comicbookmovie.com and its sister site Anime Mojo have basically said that Zack Snyder has said that he would make a sequel in a second. So he's well up for making a sequel, which I think was pretty obvious from the movie. But also Netflix has announced that there's an event going to happen, like a digital online event from the 7th to 9th of June called Geeked Week. And it's going to have like first looks at numerous Netflix projects, but they've said that there's something Army of the Dead related. They've not said what it is.
Okay.
But they've just said there's something Army of the Dead related.
So on this as well, because I've seen a report about this as well. It's about people questioning it. And they're questioning when they, again, spoilers, so just watch yourselves. But when they said about the bodies that they found, and they said it could be us.
Yes.
There's more of a link to the fact that this could be a recurring thing that it's not the first time they've tried. And one of the things that's on there in one of the bodies, you see the necklace that matches one of the girls with the key on it.
Yeah, yeah.
The one that's dead on the floor has got 3 loops on the top of the key. Her one has got 4.
Oh,
so they're thinking that this could be the 4th time that they've gone through it.
Oh, that'd be good.
So there's loads of little things.
A lot more. I mean, with
interesting.
Spoilers with like the robot zombies and all that sort of stuff. It makes it okay. That's just got a lot more interesting. To be fair,
so I'm quite intrigued if that is genuinely a thing, because that seems like a very intricate detail to make sure is in there.
Yeah.
So
even with because we were talking about the fact that they're doing a prequel with Data and it's Army of Thieves instead. Yeah. That seems still like quite a random thing to make a prequel to. So maybe that's going to tie into somehow the fact that there's.
When I saw that as well, the next thing that I remembered was one of the lines when they said about I shot her 3 times, and then someone corrected him and said no, it was 4.
Yes.
And then so I'm thinking again, where
could be.
Is that? And there were also 3 rifles in the vault that shows that he's made it into the vault before.
Were there?
Yeah.
We should have done all this on
I know, but I've only just found all of this stuff out that I've missed.
Well, as soon as it gets announced, obviously, even though it's not comic book related, as we talked about in the last episode, it'll do. We'll definitely cover it. Something else is not particularly comic related, but I thought it was really interesting. Highlander. So Deadline, again, because they're all over everything this week, they're reporting that Lionsgate are rebooting Highlander with the John Wick director, Chad Stahelski, helming the project. And they've also said that Henry Cavill is in final talks.
I've seen a fan poster of him as Highlander.
Is it the one where they've taken the Witcher poster?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
However, shocker.
What?
I've never seen Highlander.
It's good. I mean, I've not seen it for years. But
Mel Gibson, yeah. No.
Christopher Lambert.
I'm getting mixed up.
No. You're thinking Braveheart. Braveheart and or Mad Max. No, it's not Mel Gibson. It's not Mel Gibson. Should we edit that out? No. Let's leave that in. Christopher Lambert. I had to think a minute. Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. Good movie. It's. Do you know what? It's not comic book related, but he basically is a superhero. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
He can't die. So there's loads of them. There's loads of these Highlanders, and they're all immortals. But there's only a certain number of them, and as they kill each other, they get the power from the other one. So whoever's left gets more powerful. And the tagline is there can be only one. So they're all trying to kill each other to become the most powerful one, and the only one who's left, basically.
Right. Okay.
Good, decent. They went a bit downhill quite quickly, but I think there's like 12 of them or something ridiculous like that.
Is there?
No, it's probably 3 or 4.
Didn't they do a series?
I think they did do a series, yeah. But I don't think that was... we're digressing loads in this episode. I don't think it was supposed to be the guy from the movie. I think it was supposed to be...
It wasn't supposed to be
like
canon in any way.
Cousin or something. No, I think it was related, but he's just another... Well, yeah, because I think they are to a degree related.
Oh, right,
but
okay.
He's basically not the guy from the movie. He's like another Highlander. But yeah, I think that'd be decent. I think years ago there was talk that Ryan Reynolds was going to be it. In a reboot, which would have been a completely different film, clearly. But totally would have been good. Last bit of non-Marvel or DC news. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt that's coming to Amazon Prime in July. The full trailer just dropped this afternoon. I know we haven't seen this one, it's all right. I've only just watched it before.
I don't remember it.
This. So it's the one where there's a war going on in the future, and they bring people from
yes,
present day
I remember you saying about it now, yeah. And Chris Pratt's in it.
Yeah, Chris Pratt's in it, yeah.
I love Chris Pratt.
To be fair, the full trailer doesn't really give much away. We basically see that Chris Pratt is a teacher who ends up getting drafted to the future to fight in this war, which is, I think, 30 years in the future. It looks like the gist of the trailer is that they're going to try and end up stopping the war before it's started by jumping between the two times. But it's got a real feel. Watching the trailer, it felt like Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
I was going to say it sounds a bit Terminator-y as well.
It does sound a bit
into the future to stop the war before it starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the whole tone of it is like, have you seen Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt?
Yes,
we've seen that one. Good.
Yeah.
It feels, just the trailer feels like that. I don't know why. It looks like it could be a sequel to that. Maybe it is.
Can I just point out, by the way, I've watched a lot of films and shows.
Anthony's watched a lot of films, but the running joke of the podcast, Anthony.
I know, but this is the thing. We only seem to talk about stuff that I've never seen, and I don't understand.
What have you seen? Let's pause the podcast. What have you seen? What do you want to talk
about? No, but I have though. Like, I always talk about stuff, and people are like, I've never seen that. How have you watched all of these things?
I know.
And then when it gets to something mega important, it turns out I've never seen it.
It's not that mega important. It's all right. Highlander is not that mega, no, but mega important. You've seen Braveheart. We're all right.
I don't remember it. At one point I thought there was a dragon in there, but it's not. What's that one? The one with the dragon? The dragon in Scotland?
I don't know, it's not Braveheart.
No, it's not Braveheart. But at one point I did think that the dragon was called Braveheart, and I got confused over them. No. I'm going to stop.
And he's broke me. Anyway, as we get to Marvel news, we've got some interesting Marvel news. So we've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness news. It's all about Elizabeth Olsen. She's done a couple of interviews this week and possibly let a few things slip. So she did an interview with Explica, and she said that every Marvel movie is unique, and this one's sure to surprise fans. I can't wait to see your reaction, especially when it comes to the WandaVision part. So she didn't say Wanda's part. She specifically said WandaVision part.
But however, we did already know that WandaVision was going into Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, does it just mean that it's going to be we're going to have Vision and it going on about the twins? And they're chasing the twins, which kind of is where...
Or she goes back to get Agatha for something.
She could do. Oh, it'd be so good if Catherine Harmon.
Don't, because I'll wait.
It'd
Like,
be
I'm so excited.
It'd be so good. But I wonder. Do you know what I thought? Because when she said the WandaVision part, I thought it'd be really interesting to see if maybe trying to defend herself, trying to pull Doctor Strange into the Hex or into like a copy of the Hex, and him just like not having any of it and just being like, it's far too.
I'm just thinking like Wanda's in trouble, and then she just breaks out with a reprise, and it was like, I needed Agatha all along.
Oh, that would be good. It would never happen.
I know it'll never happen, but
it's
just
I like that.
Love it.
She also told the Hollywood Report. This is probably where she's dropped herself in it a little bit more. She told the Hollywood Reporter's Award Chatter podcast. She said she has it's obviously talking about Wanda. She has a few fun powers, telekinesis. She can travel between universes, and then kind of like started trying to talk about something else really quickly, apparently. So she's potentially got the ability to jump between universes, which is kind of a surprise if we're bringing America Chavez into it, because I thought
unless she teaches her, because it could be the thing. Because this has been the thing with a lot of the characters in that, and I mean, we skate past Thor, and this is a big thing in Thor Ragnarok, is that he's actually got a lot more power than he ever thought, and it's only losing that hammer that he's realised his full potential. And that's the same with Wanda. Like, we've kind of discovered new things about characters as the time's gone on. Yeah. And I think if that's going to be the case, then it'd be perfect for someone like that to come in and teach Wanda that she can do it.
Yeah. Or maybe it's Wanda's got the power and she's jumping from universe to universe and then like leaving the doors open every time she jumps from universe to universe.
Yes.
So that's why it's all going tits up, for want of a better word. And then they need America Chavez to help sort of chase her down. And it's going to be good. All these, the next one that we're on to, Thor: Love and Thunder news as well. All these MCU films for the next phase are going to be brilliant. So the Daily Mail got hold of some photos of a hidden set. It's all basically been behind walls. Yeah. And it looks like they are going to be going back to New Asgard in Norway.
Okay.
They've got a whole set of that, which isn't massively surprising because we know Tessa Thompson's going to be back as Valkyrie.
And it's where we left them, so
it is where
it would make sense that we would go and visit them back again at some point.
But at the end of Endgame, she said, "I'll make big changes or big plans or something like that." Yeah. So in this, there's one of the buildings is named Asgard Tours Aerial Sightseeing, and then also we've got this theatre troupe back, haven't we? So I'm wondering, is she going to sort of like open it up as like a big public? Like a theme park in New Asgard, so it's not going to be like a little fishing village anymore. It's going to be like come and see the Asgardians with shows and aerial tours on one of the flying horses or something like that.
Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be so good.
It's going to flying
horse, the Pegasus.
Pegasi.
I don't know what the plural is.
Pegasus. We've got some what if news. The Direct has shared info from Disney's D23 magazine. And it's basically confirmed that What If is going to be pulling from Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, I read this at first and thought it's the new one, No Way Home, but it's not. So there's going to basically be something What If related to Spider-Man 2 with like Mysterio and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And the report I've read is saying that this potentially backs up the rumours that there's going to be a Steve Rogers version of Spider-Man, which we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I don't get why that would tie to Far From Home, because surely that would be Homecoming.
Unless Steve Rogers became Black Monkey.
Night Monkey. But do you know what I thought it might be? I'm wondering whether there'll be a what if Peter took over as Iron Man. And that'll be what Far From Home
That'd be quite
cool.
Far
From Home, rather than being Spider-Man, he now takes over publicly.
Because he sits and plays with the suits on the plane. Yeah. He made an Iron Man suit for himself.
So I thought that'd be quite interesting.
Cool.
Onto something that Anthony hasn't seen. I don't think he has anyway. MODOK dropped this week.
So I haven't watched MODOK yet.
MODOK, right. This is the problem.
Have you watched it?
I've watched the first episode. Okay. And we're not going to go into it in massive detail because in the US it's come out on Hulu.
Yeah.
And they've dropped the whole series on the 21st.
I know, we're getting it weekly.
We're getting it weekly because it's Disney Plus, which I think is a really bad move because people, I mean, I have literally only watched the first episode, but people are just going to pirate it.
Yeah.
No one's going to sit there and if anyone's
if you don't have to
Marvel,
wait for it, why would you wait?
Why would you? Exactly. And I don't think it's the sort of anybody who's going to be watching it, I would imagine is going to be like a pretty involved Marvel fan rather than just some random Joe Blogs. So I think they'll go looking for it, and I just can't imagine that it's going to do particularly well for the rest of the series. Yeah, I mean the episode that I watched was good. It felt really like one long Robot Chicken sketch. Did you watch Robot Chicken?
I've seen bits of it.
It's good. It's Seth Green who does Robot Chicken. He's an executive producer on it.
What MODOK makes me think of though now? What? It's one of the bad guys off Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Krang.
The one in the jar.
Yeah, Krang.
Yeah.
It does look
it
a bit
makes me
like
think
Krang,
of him.
Yeah. It was. Do you know what? It was good though. It's quite full on. There's lots of swearing in it. Yeah. There's quite a lot of gore in it, even though it's it's cartoon. Yeah. But it makes me, and quite a lot of rude jokes as well, to be fair. But it makes me quite hopeful that even though it's not set in the MCU, it's Marvel. So maybe Deadpool won't be sort of too reined in when they do a Deadpool 3. Because I know they said they're going to do an R-rated one. But a little bit of me thought it's Disney. It's not going to be like Fox did it. Yeah, but maybe it will be. And he'll be in that universe and then he comes over to the MCU.
Well, I think at this point now with the purchase of Fox and them starting up Star and stuff like that, some of the stuff that they've got on there.
Yeah. Walking Dead's coming to Disney Plus.
That's what I mean. Like, you can't then turn around and just decide, oh no, we're not going to have...
Yeah, but you can not include it in the MCU.
Yeah, you can choose not to and stuff like that, but I just think it's a shame if that's the reason for it, because they don't want more R-rated stuff.
No, I mean.
I just think if Disney are going to go round and buy
all these
big
things.
Boy stuff, sorry, but that's what it is essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you need to kind of have a department that does the big boy stuff.
Yeah.
You can't like sensitize everything.
But can you then tie it into the MCU, which is all?
Yeah, PG-13? I'm not necessarily talking about tying it into the MCU, but I just don't think you should stop making a film because it's a bit too rude for the channel that you work with.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I meant.
But Deadpool's going to be, surely you'd think Deadpool's going to be part of the MCU, so it's like, how are we going to get an R-rated Deadpool?
Yeah,
that then plays nice.
Maybe in one of the multiverses, there's a Deadpool where every time he does try to swear, it just beeps him out.
I wonder whether he'll start off in his universe and then end up coming over to this universe where he's not allowed. And
maybe it's like The Good Place, where they can't swear.
Yeah.
And she's like, holy shirt balls.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. I'd do that. I'm all right with that. Yeah, that'd be good. I like that. Before we get into Thor, then last bit. The Eternals trailer, so that was.
Oh my God.
I didn't see that coming. Just as it came out of nowhere. Thought I'd done all my notes for the podcast for this week, and bloody Eternals trailer dropped. I had to squeeze it into the middle.
As it appears, I honestly was just in awe.
The ship, the ship was really good. It was just. I know it sounds like we're just focusing on something that's very, very basic, but just the way it looks and came in, it just looked really futuristic.
Do you know what it reminded me a little bit of, and I'm not trying to take away from it, it reminded me a little bit of Independence Day.
Yeah.
When the first ship came into the atmosphere and like all the clouds kind of parted around it, its appearance as it came in was a bit like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
But to them, to the people who were seeing it come in, it is like it's big. It's alien, isn't it? They've got no idea what it is.
Yeah.
What are you excited for the movie? Are you excited for the movie off the back of the trailer?
So I am now, right. So I mean, I was quite excited for it in general, but I was kind of like, where's it going? What's it doing?
I was the same, yeah.
And let's be honest, the trailer hasn't answered any of that. To be fair,
no, it hasn't.
It's still kind of like, so what is the storyline to the film? Like, what's the basic line of it? Like, where is it going? And we didn't get told anything. And then the first proper bit of speech that you get that's kind of less vague than anything else, voiceovers and stuff like that, is them all sat around that table.
Yeah.
And then he says, now that Tony and Steve are gone, what's going to happen with the... And I just that was the point where I went, okay.
So we're here. This is where it is.
Yeah.
I think it's going to... I wonder whether... I think it's obviously going to introduce us to the Eternals, but I think we're probably going to see them through multiple times. I think with the trailer kind of give that away to a degree, but I don't think it's just going to be like the story's going on now and there's like little flashbacks. I really think that it's going to take us through like the whole thing, and we could potentially see like little nods to like we were talking about, like Loki popping up in the background, the Eternals being in the background of things like the Avengers battle for New York and stuff like that, sitting watching, being like, nope, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved.
And that's what I think. I think we're essentially going to go back potentially millennias, and watch them where the reasons for and why they step in to help
Yeah.
certain races, and then them have that argument of, we can't step into this because this is their fight kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a point where we're at Steve and Tony being gone,
Yeah.
and then they go, okay, now what?
Is that why they have to step in, because Tony and Steve have...
I don't think that that's why. I think it's more the fact that it was Thanos.
Yeah, but I just think, like, because I think a few people have commented on this. It's like because I think it's Salma Hayek talking, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she's basically saying, like, we've helped humans evolve and progress and all that sort of stuff, but we've never interfered. But now we have to step in.
Yeah.
But if they didn't feel that they had to step in for Thanos wiping out half the universe,
Yeah.
what the hell is this coming? What is coming that they now feel, actually, shit, we need to step in now? Because it must be 10 times bigger and badder than Thanos. Yeah. And I think
the only thing I can think with something like the Eternals, now, don't get me wrong, I've not read any of the comics. I don't really know who the Eternals are, what they're about. I kind of have an idea based on what we've seen so far. But my thing is could it be a form of prophecy?
In what way?
Like, I mean, with them being Eternals, there might be certain points in time that are fixed. It's something that is coming that we don't know about yet because it's too soon for us to kind of have any idea. But they know at this point that something is coming, and we've now lost Steve and Tony.
I hope it's Galactus.
Do you?
Yeah, because I think
not Galacticus.
No, not Galacticus. No, Galactus. Maximus Decimus Galacticus. We're getting Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
and obviously he's a big Fantastic Four villain, and I just think we need to get some. It needs to now be. I don't think we'll have it for years, but it needs to be bigger than Thanos.
Yeah,
not like physically. Obviously, he's physically bigger, but it needs to be a bigger threat.
Yeah,
and I think I would imagine that probably towards the end of the Eternals, we won't get like a definite this is it. I wouldn't be surprised if all that information that we got from Salma Hayek talking there
is pretty much everything we get.
No, like the very end of the film.
Yeah.
At the very, very end. So we're going to see them fight something else, which is their own.
Yeah. And
then at the end, it's going to be like, right, this is your phase 5 bad guy. It's coming.
Yeah.
We're going to have to step in now and start helping.
Yeah.
But I like you. I wasn't so much excited before this, but more intrigued as to see what it was. And like you said, it didn't really give anything away, but I got really excited off the back of that trailer, and I just thought this is going to be absolutely brilliant. And I mean, the cast, it's like, look at the cast. You got seeing Angelina Jolie standing there in an MCU movie is just like, what? How? I know. I mean, she's a big actress, like, but she just seems like
she's been quiet recently as well.
Yeah,
Angelina Jolie, she's not done a hell of a lot.
And I knew she was in it, but I just always had this thing in the back of my head that she was going to be in it for 5 minutes and she wouldn't really interact with everybody else.
Yeah.
But she's just there with the group, not even really leading the group.
Yeah.
I think she possibly is the leader, but she doesn't even look like she's like taking charge of the group. So that's going to be interesting. We've got Salma Hayek. We've got, I think it's Gemma Chan, who was in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So it's multiple characters. Richard Madden and Kit Harington, the Starks, two of the Starks in the movie at the same time, and then we've got Kamal Nanjiani as well. And there's other actors and actresses in it as well, but they're the big names that I sort of picked up on.
Yeah.
But again, it's an amazing cast, and I just think roll on November. I'm really every MCU movie. I'm now, the more we see, the more excited. And there were some that I was like this was probably the one. And I know people have been raging about it, but this was probably the one that I was least excited about.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't know if I'm more excited than anything else, but I can't wait to see where it goes, because I think it's going to set up. The future.
Definitely.
So that's pretty much us for news. Quite a bit of news this week. Should we get into?
Should we dive straight in?
Should we dive straight into Thor Ragnarok? Yeah. We'll do the usual. We'll talk through the movie, because we're going to set aside like 3 hours, because we're just going to basically quote every line from the movie. This is going to be 2 hours of bad Korg impressions from me and Anthony, because neither of us can do the voice. But get ready for this. So obviously there are going to be spoilers. We've got literally reading the first things I've got written down. I'm already giggling to myself here. So
the first 5 minutes of I've been falling for 30 minutes.
It's pretty early on, isn't it? To be fair. So it's directed by Taika Waititi. I thought as well, he's now the first Thor director who's come back for a second movie.
Yeah.
Which is a massive thing in itself, because we seem to just be jumping between.
Yeah.
So it starts off, it's been 2 years since we've seen Thor. It's 2 years since Sokovia.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been imprisoned by Surtur, we're going to call him, which is Clancy Brown from everything. You know who Clancy Brown is, don't you? He was in Highlander.
I'll know the face.
Yeah, you'll know the face. You won't know the face, you'll know the voice. He does. It's the voices. He was in Shawshank. He's the guard in the Shawshank Redemption.
I don't remember specifically, but I have seen Shawshank Redemption.
Clancy Brown, everybody, but everyone else will know who he is. So Surtur tells Thor that Odin isn't on Asgard, and so Ragnarok's coming, and then he's going to destroy Asgard. Thor escapes. He beats Surtur and his minions.
But even that introduction,
and then he heads back to Asgard. Yeah, it's just, I thought just in the first minute and a half, it's instantly a Thor that we've never seen. Thor himself that we've never seen before. Like the lines he's like when he's trapped at the start, he's like, "Oh no, Thor's trapped in a cage," and all that sort of stuff. And it's like,
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he's like, "Surtur, you son of a bitch," and it's like you never get him doing any of that. And even the whole thing where he's just spinning and he's like slowly spinning around. Like, wait. But we've never seen. Like, I know you thought there were bits of, we said this before, bits of Thor 1 were funny,
I think the best way to, and I know obviously it's been a lot of different direction and stuff like that because of the films and who kind of took reins on them. But I think as a character development, we've seen the very serious Thor from the beginning, which didn't work. But I think that he's dealt with so much just in what we've already seen from him that at this point, he's got a bit more comfort to it, and he doesn't have to be the big. It doesn't. Yeah. Because he knows that there are others now that can take the reins as well, but he still kind of has that egotistical side, which is where he's doing the what is it, the strongest Avenger, and all of that kind of stuff. Like all of those jokes, that is still there, and that's what I like about it. But he's made it that little bit more funny, and it's even. And one of my favourite bits is the bit with him and Chris Pratt in Endgame when he's doing that. Of course. That. It's that kind of humour, and I just think it's brilliant.
I think it comes from Chris Hemsworth, obviously, because he's playing him, but. It's got to be.
That's writing as well. Yeah,
he's taken the direction from Taika, and I just think it's like there's bits in the film where I've picked up on it more, but just from that opening scene, because we get that fight where he
what you're getting straight away from that.
You do, but I just think it's because when he has the fight, he absolutely destroys all Surtur's minions.
Yeah,
and the music as well. We get Immigrant Song as well, which is brilliant.
I love that song,
but. It's just like in the first few minutes, he's turned Thor into a bit of an idiot because he is. Yeah. He's a bit of a goof, isn't he? But he's still an absolute badass. Yeah, and it's
is the thing.
How do you get that? It's a very, very fine line to get a character who is a bit of an idiot, and the comedy. He is the comic relief of the film, and the hero. You don't sit there and go, "Oh, this guy's an idiot, but he's managed to do it." It's like. He's powerful and you respect him as the hero of the movie. And I think Taika Waititi's done such a good job to just
find that
get
balance.
It absolutely spot on. But even the music with the title card all coming up, I thought it was just.
I really love the 80s theme that goes through the whole film.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
All the synth music.
Yeah, it's all touched upon. The neon lights, the colours that they all wear. Whatever that planet's called. Sakaar, that's it. I just think it's brilliant, and with the soundtrack that they've used, it just fits in perfectly. Yeah. And I also noticed that music is playing when Thor's at his most comfortable, because they play that song twice.
Oh, Immigrant Song.
Yeah,
they do.
Because they do it at the very beginning when he's in stuck in place, and then obviously everything that goes on in between makes him question things a lot, and then when he realizes that. Actually, he can do this. the music plays again.
I hope that's just his theme song now, because
I hope it's his theme song.
I want it again. Yeah, at least at the start when he has a fight at the start, it's gonna be good. Him and the Guardians fighting with immigrant song playing, just be absolutely brilliant.
Well, this was the other thing I was thinking that will fit very well. Because you've got the 80s soundtrack that the Guardians keep doing, and that's what I'm wondering with Guardians 3. Because they played a lot on the fact that the first music was the tape from his mum, and the second one was the present that he got at the end of the first one that he finally opened. Yeah. So what are they doing with the third?
All the music on the Zune that Yonder gave to him.
Shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Well, and obviously they've been back to Earth, so he could have anything now.
Yeah.
He could have an iPod now, or an iPhone. Do you know what I mean? It could be anything.
Yeah, but I think it'll tie in really well with that kind of music.
So he's again so clever, just putting those two together, because it did have a very Guardians-y feel to it as well, didn't it?
And I do wish they'd have called Guardians of the Galaxy 3 as Guardians
of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I do as well, to be fair. But I think there's got to be some more joke. Because did he say that at the end of Endgame?
I think they did, and I just thought it'd have been brilliant if they'd have played on it and called it, even if it was just like scribbled on.
Thor is
or like scorched on with lightning or something. The A and the S or something, something daft like that. I just think it'd be brilliant.
I think it's got to start at some point with Guardians 3, or won't it be Thor first? Won't it? Thor's out first. Thor as part of the Guardians, and Thor, taking charge when he shouldn't be taking charge, and being like, we're the Asgardians of the galaxy. And Quill being like, no, we're not. You're not even part of the team. Shut up.
Just kind of like fights past Thor's cape.
Yeah, something like that. Brilliant. So we end up back on Asgard. Heimdall's no longer in charge of the Bifrost. Instead, we've got Scourge, who we'll talk about in a second. Carl Urban as Scourge is brilliant. And then we find Loki pretending to be Odin, and Thor obviously exposes him to that it's not really him. Scourge is brilliant. Scourge is hilarious. He's like, he didn't have as many lines, but he was like...
Even that first scene where he's sitting there just trying to impress the two women.
Like, this is my stuff. Look at all my stuff. I got these two from Texas. I call them Des and Troy.
Put them together. Destroy.
I was just sat giggling to myself watching it. It's so good. And then I thought, obviously Thor shows up and he flies off with the hammer, and then it's like Scourge can do nothing but run. And he's just like jogging along. And I thought again, because Anthony Hopkins isn't in it much, but Anthony Hopkins pretending to be Loki, pretending to be Odin, is brilliant. And I never noticed.
I love just the way he goes, shit.
Yeah, I never noticed it before. Oh shit. Yeah, it's just I never noticed it. I was literally sat there giggling to myself. I love when actors have to play other characters being them. Yeah. Because they did it in Harry Potter with Hermione, with Bellatrix, didn't they? So like all of that kind of stuff. I think it's so clever, and it just shows how good people are at acting. Yeah. Like that immediate change, that something's different. Yeah. And I think it's amazing. And Anthony Hopkins, to be fair, he played it. Yeah. He absolutely nailed it. We also get to meet the theatre troupe at that stage as well. How they got Matt Damon and Sam Neill. Matt Damon as Loki is brilliant. I'm so glad he's coming back with all of them.
Yeah,
so we get Matt Damon as Loki. We get Luke Hemsworth as Thor. And then we get Sam Neill as Odin. And it's just absolutely brilliant. The whole scene
Sam Neill,
fantastic. I also thought it was good when and I've seen it hundreds of times, there's gifs of it all over, but the look that Loki gives when he kind of turns around and he kind of does like that smile as if to be like, oh, it was only a joke, I was only kidding. Yeah. And then Scourge comes running in out of breath, and it made it last week when we were recording the podcast, I had to run upstairs or something and came like twice because of the kids and came right down, and I was trying not to be out of breath while I was talking on the podcast, and it just reminded me of that. Yeah, because he's like trying to get his voice out because he's just completely unfit from running along the whole Bifrost. Brilliant.
So good.
So after Thor's found out that Loki is Odin, he takes him to New York. So they go to New York to find Odin. We get Doctor Strange's cameo, and he basically says that Odin's in Norway and sends him there. Now I was just when I originally did the notes for this, I was literally skipping straight to Odin in Norway. But again, I've never really watched the whole Doctor Strange interaction.
That's funny as hell as well.
It's brilliant because I was properly trying to take it in. It's so good. The whole bit when little bit where he knocks over the ornaments at the start and he's trying to like bundle back together and put it through again, it shows that. And something I'd never noticed.
The awkward length because obviously he turns the hammer into the umbrella.
Yeah.
And then when he calls for it, and then you just hear all the smashing. And he's like, sorry.
It's brilliant. Do you know what? I've never noticed it before though. You know when he's doing all the teleporting?
Yeah.
And Thor's like keeps just like fighting, not knowing where he is because Doctor Strange is teleporting. I think it's the last one. And it's after he's plucked his hair out and he starts doing the thing with his hands and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I'm always watching Doctor Strange's hands because it's all like the lights going on. On that last shot when he goes to the foyer of the Sanctorum, Thor lands halfway down the stairs and rolls down the stairs. I never noticed it before. He's just like on his arse, like rolling down the stairs because he's just dumped him in the middle. It was so good. That was the biggest shock moments of me watching this film. I just didn't see it happening, but I was trying to take it all in. I was just crying, laughing to myself. And then we get the classic, the line of Loki, I've been falling for 30 minutes. When he comes
I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Brilliant. Absolute classic, but it works. Again, such a small part. Doctor Strange was in it, and he didn't really do anything particularly funny.
No,
Benedict Cumberbatch, but he set up multiple jokes.
Yeah, and there was just that complete flexing between the two of them, wasn't there? Of look what I can do.
Yeah,
basically, and that was something else that I really enjoyed.
And we didn't. It's like that's the first time we've ever seen them interact, and it's the last time we've never seen them really interact again. No, so. It's going to be quite interesting to see them back. I know obviously Loki or potentially might be back after the series, but the whole Thor interacting with anybody now since Taika Waititi got hold of him is brilliant. So they end up going to Norway anyway. Odin dies, and that's after he's told them that Ragnarok is still coming, so Thor's not stopped Ragnarok. Yeah, and he tells them about Hela too, who basically just shows up instantly, destroys Mjolnir, which was it would have been nice if we hadn't seen it in the trailer.
The biggest shock ever.
Yeah. But
I don't know why they showed that in the trailer.
They showed too much. I mean, Marvel are normally good with the trailers, but we knew Mjolnir was going to get destroyed, and we knew Hulk was going to be in it at that scene.
Yeah.
And it kind of took the surprise away. But I think they did well with.
But I think the savior is the fact that the rest of the film is so bloody good that you kind of forgave them for giving you those 2 points. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I also noticed in this one, he calls it the hammer again. Doesn't call it by its name. Because you asked that question, you said he never calls it his hammer.
He does, yeah.
And he does call it his hammer in this.
Doesn't he? Yeah, he does. When you mean later when
he's talking to Korg. When he's talking to Korg, yeah.
More Korg, can't wait to get to Korg. We'll be there in a minute. So Loki calls the Bifrost and jumps into that with Thor, but then Hela chases them and knocks them out of it, and that's why they end up on Sakaar. One thing I wrote down, which I thought was quite, again, because we are trying to do this focusing on Loki, but we didn't manage it. When Odin sits down, he says, "I love you, my sons," and it's like he's making a point. Even though like all the shit he's had with Loki, he is still his son, and he loves him like a son. And you could see sort of like Loki's face was as if like, shit. Yeah, shouldn't have done all this shit I've done, because he does. Even though I said like you're not my dad and all that sort of stuff, he does still love him. And I think he just probably saw, because we see like things that Odin's done. I think he probably just saw more of himself in Loki than he did in Thor. To be fair.
Thor's kind of the black sheep of the family, isn't he?
Yeah, Loki just is probably.
Well, now that we've met now that we meet Hela as well, it's kind of like Thor's really
good, and Loki's pretty decent, to be fair.
Well, essentially, Thor's his mum. This is what I've sat there and thought. This Loki and Hela are Odin, and Thor is much more his mum.
Yeah.
Now,
but not
He was more Odin at the beginning when we first met him, but now he's
more like not asked by it all, by being the king and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, no, fair play. So Hela arrives in Asgard. She kills the 3 dudes, because we're not calling them what they're supposed to be called. Where's Sif? I don't know where Lady Sif is.
No, I don't know where Sif is.
I think she's potentially coming back for Thor: Love and Thunder, at least in a cameo. I think I've read that somewhere. It'd be nice. It'd be good.
It'd be good to see it, but also, where the hell have you been?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well,
if you're such a big warrior that was stood by Thor the whole time,
doing missions on her own and stuff. Maybe because she was in Agent. I know it's not canon, but she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
died in that time because calling for the my words are not working because all I've got
It's
in
not
my head
good when
now
we're
is
recording a podcast.
frostbite. And I know it's not
The
frostbite.
Bifrost.
The Bifrost.
She could have just called
the
the
frostbite.
Don't call the frostbite. She
Freaking
could have just
hell.
called the Bifrost. So, Hela, after she's killed the 3 dudes, she brings back her army and the giant dog. She makes... It was Fenris?
Oh, I don't know.
She makes Scourge her executioner too, and then Heimdall robs the sword so that she can't use the Bifrost to basically take over the world. I thought it was quite unacceptable by me of how happy I was when she killed Volstagg and Fandral. I was like, yes, Hela, get him.
The thing is, though, you kind of love her straight away.
Yeah.
Like, Kate Blanchett has this way of, even when she's being horrible, you kind of love her for it in the same way.
But
and
I don't get why, because I don't think she's got much character to her.
No, she hasn't.
She's very like...
It's just the delivery of it and the presence when she's there. It's just impressive.
Yeah.
She's basically just come back and gone, that's my throne, I'm taking it.
Having it. Yeah.
Whether there's anyone to rule or not, it's my throne, I'm having it.
I think also that Taika killed those 3 to sort of wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're going to try and distance ourselves from Thor 1 and 2 as much as possible.
Yeah,
Plus, I don't think he'd know, no disrespect to Taika Waititi, but I don't think he'd know how to use them, because I think he's had to change Thor's character so much to make him a bit of a bumbling idiot, but at the same time the hero of the movie. And the only thing to really do with those 3 would have been to make him bumbling idiots. Yeah, they just wouldn't have been entertaining. So I think he needed to kill him off.
It has started to turn into the Lord of the Rings a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think Hogan did. I mean, I was quite impressed with how Hogan fought out, because he survived a lot longer than the other 2, didn't he? But yeah, I think they had to get rid of them. I also thought it was quite impressive how she basically took down the entire Asgardian military on her own, including ships.
But then, I mean, later on we do see that she pretty much took down the Valkyrie herself as well.
She did, yeah.
So that army would have been nothing in comparison to them.
Because they're all like they're the elites, aren't
they?
Yeah.
So
Thor lands on Sakaar. He gets captured by Valkyrie, or Scrapper 142, as she's called at that point, who sells into the Grandmaster, who we'll talk about in a second, who ends up being Loki's new best mate, and then Grandmaster wants to use him as a gladiator. I think Tessa Thompson in this is brilliant. She's really good in the role. Like instantly, like 2 minutes in, it's just like, again, like Kate Blanchett, you just love her straight away. She's just like, you just know she's going to be carry on going forward in the MCU for ages. Yeah. We both talked about it before we started recording. The intro video that Thor has to sit through to introduce him to the Grandmaster is brilliant. I mean, where would you even think of doing? The thought of putting that together.
It's like the silhouettes of him, like doing his poses and stuff.
The
in the
Grandmaster and the music, the Willy Wonka, not the Wizard of Oz music, as I said before, the Willy Wonka music. And then the very end of it, where it's like, you are about to meet the Grandmaster in 5, 4, 3, 2. And he starts screaming, and then all of a sudden he's just sat there, and he's like, ah!
It's so funny.
It's so stupid, but it's so good at the same time. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. We've said this before again. He doesn't really have any. I mean, he's got lines. He's obviously got lines in the film, but I can't. There's nothing like specific that he says. It's just like you said. It's his presence.
Do you know what? The one that made me really laugh is because in this scene they bring the other guy in next to Thor,
his cousin.
Yeah, and then he uses the melt stick on him.
The melt stick.
And then the first thing he says is, it's getting on my shoes. And all this, and he's stepping, and he's like, he's just like, he's so camp with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so funny. He's essentially running this entire planet and making gladiators fight one another. And is it like Roman level, that kind of thing. And he's just this camp as hell guy that just loves bright colours and orgies. Like that's the best way to describe it.
I get the impression though that like a lot of it, and I don't know this, I'm sure you could do a quick Google. I got the impression that most of his performance was like improvised.
Probably.
Just because like when he says to her, like, what does that smell like? And she says burnt toast. It's like, that just didn't look scripted, because he starts giggling straight away after it. And it's like, he's clearly started giggling on set, and Taika's just thought, we can use that, we can use that, that, and just put the whole thing together like that. But again, I think that's a credit to Jeff Goldblum. Should we talk about him then? This is the first time we meet Korg, who is probably one of the best characters in the MCU. I'm a little bit watching this. I'm like, he wasn't in Endgame enough. He should have tagged along in Endgame, because it would have taken away from the seriousness. Like, but every line
on the Polar Rocks waving at you.
No need to be afraid unless you pair of scissors.
Just a little rock paper scissors joke for you.
Told you this is just going to be an Andy for an hour, not doing Korg impressions.
He is so funny though.
And poor Doug.
Tried a revolution, but didn't print enough pamphlets.
Like my mum and her boyfriend, who I hate. Oh, sorry.
No use running in this circle. It's more like a freaky circle.
Freaky circle.
It's just so funny.
Good. It's so good.
Literally every single line that he has,
every
you
line
laugh at.
is amazing. Yeah,
Like,
it's just the voice. We should just take it with the.
Well, I actually watched an interview. Ready for this? And Taika basically said that when he was in New Zealand,
you sound like Taika Waititi, you know.
Do I?
Yeah, a little bit. So you're stuck on Korg mode.
When you go to the clubs,
yeah,
they've got like these big grok bouncers.
Yeah.
But then they've got these
like
delicate, polite voices that are like Korg.
Yeah.
And they're standing in the clubs and like, you might want to take it easy, mate.
So it's just like Korg.
I don't want to be rude, but like, and it's that kind of thing. And he said it's just so funny because they're so polar opposite, and that's what he wanted to use with Korg. Which
I don't think in any of the trailers we'd seen or heard what he was gonna talk like. So I suppose now it's different, but I suppose going into it, you'd have been like, there's a big rock monster, and then he starts talking like Korg, and it's just like, just itself, literally anything he says, like you just said, is absolutely hilarious. And there's more to come, so we'll get back to more Korg lines in a minute. So we also see Hela bringing her army back to life on Asgard. We see the ceiling that she breaks, which has got all the pictures behind it of Odin. It just shows. I
thought that was brilliant.
He was
that's how they did it.
Very clever, and very easy way.
When she speaks to Thor later on, she says about the fact that he covers everything up.
Yeah.
And that's both physically and metaphorically. And I just thought that was brilliant the way it was said. But
it just shows Odin was a bad guy.
Yeah.
And he was worse than what Loki tried to do in Avengers.
Yeah.
Odin accomplished. He took over. Yeah. He took over realms or with basically planets. But you'd just think he'd be like a bit more understanding then. And I get why he probably was trying to fight against Loki doing it, because he probably thought I was wrong, which is why I locked up Hela. And I don't want him to do this. But he probably just saw too much of himself doing it. I also thought it was quite interesting. Again, talking about Taika, like wiping the slate clean by like getting rid of the Warriors 3. Straight away going in and just pushing over the Infinity Gauntlet and go fake. It's just like, because again, it's like something we talked about, saying like at the start, was it supposed to be there? What was it supposed to be? And it's like he's gone through and used this film to like retcon everything and be like, no, that was rubbish.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. I also there was a bit of Loki. I mean, it's obviously all the way through the film, but something like a little bit where Loki goes to see, or he doesn't go, but he uses like his hologrammy type thing. What is it? You know, when he goes astral projection. That's it. When he uses astral projection,
that's my one really good input for the day.
I'm far too tired to be talking about words like astral projection. He does his ghosty thingy to go and see Thor, and it makes you realise. I mean, it shows he's still bad to a degree, because he's quite happy. His plan is he wants to kill the Grandmaster, which is obviously bad.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go and help Asgard. He's like, no, we'll stay here. Let Hela get everybody in Asgard. But I genuinely think he wants to do it with Thor. He's like, we'll rule together. And it shows he does care about his brother.
He's still very much the opportunist. Like, that's what he's looking at in that moment. Sorry, my voice went weird then.
Right.
In that moment, what does he need and how is he going to survive? That's his front thought every single time.
Yeah.
It's all about number one. But he has started to reach out to Thor a lot more than he did before.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a massive, massive difference.
He wants to. I think because later on we see him betray him, don't we? And and he says like it's nothing personal, and I don't think it is anything personal. I think he'd prefer to do it with Thor.
Yeah.
But he's not going to let Thor not getting involved ruin.
Yeah.
What he's willing to do. But I think on the face of it, he wants to try and be kinda good. We get another Korg line as well when he disappears.
Yeah.
He's like, piss off, Ghost. Piss off, Ghost. It's just the way he goes running at the wall.
And just kicks the wall. It is so funny.
So good. Out of nowhere. It's just
the
so
thing
random.
is, Korg wasn't in the scene.
I know,
you didn't even see him looking on or anything.
No.
And then just suddenly he appears at this charge. Piss off, Ghost. It's just so good.
So good. So Thor gets taken to the Colosseum to fight in the gladiator match. He recognises Valkyrie, doesn't he?
See you later, new Doug.
See you later, new Doug. That's just what Doug used to say. Another day, another Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Oh,
Doug's dead.
Later on. So he recognises Valkyrie anyway, and he asks her for help before fighting the Grandmaster Champion, who we find out is Hulk. The fight's brilliant, which we'll go through in a second. And that's when we see Thor start to discover his true power.
For that fight, though.
Go on, let's talk about the
I have to talk about it because it is so good.
Korg, Thor's good in it as well, but go on, I know you're going to do the Korg bit.
When he tries to explain to him the hammer.
I was just spinning really fast and it pulled me off the ground.
Oh my god, the hammer pulled you off.
Oh, that's so good. We're not even drinking. We've both got glasses of water.
I was not expecting that line.
So good.
Even though I knew it was there the first time round, I'd completely forgotten. And then I heard it again. I literally had to pause it because I laughed so much.
Yeah.
It was so good. I'm seeing stars now.
It's brilliant. And then Thor nowhere near as funny as being pulled off by armor. But even Thor, when he's trying to he's talking to Valkyrie, and he finds out he's a Valkyrie, and he says, "Oh, I wanted to be a Valkyrie when I grew up, but then I realised that they were all women." Yeah. I love women, maybe a bit too much, but not a creepy way. It's just like, what have they done to Thor? You've just taken him from the serious "I'm in charge" to just a complete bumbling idiot. But then we go on to the next scene, and it's just like he's an absolute badass beating the hell out of the Hulk. We've already said it was a bit disappointing that we knew he was coming at that stage. We get the classic him going, "Yes, he's a friend from work." Did you know that was...
We know each other.
That wasn't Taika Waititi who wrote that.
No, I know.
That was the kid on Make-A-Wish. That's brilliant, that, isn't it? He's on Twitter just as the Make-A-Wish... Oh, the friend from work kid, I think he's got on Twitter. But again, that was really good. Thought Loki shitting himself when he sees... when he sees
Hulk. Like, I need to get off this planet.
I need to get away now.
It's not even just I need to leave. It's like, I need to get off this planet. I was like, brilliant.
And then when he starts smacking Thor
him, and he goes,
yes!
Look how it feels!
Brilliant. And then Thor goes back to it as well. When he starts beating up the Hulk, he's like, "You're embarrassing me. I told them we were friends."
Do you reckon that must have been improvised then, because it's following on from a line that was thrown in?
I think I just get the impression a lot of this was improvised.
It's just so funny.
And then we see Thor. We go from something again so bumbling and stupid, to Thor going like full power. Well, not even full power, just like a taste of full power.
Well, we saw it just in his fingers
earlier on. Yeah, when Odin died.
Yeah,
he got like sort of like
and there was like a little thing, and I like that because it's starting to show that there is something there before he eventually realizes it properly himself.
Going back, and when he's in the chair and he's like he breaks out and goes rah like that. The Grandmaster's like, "Ooh, sparkles." Lord of Thunder. But that I thought that was absolutely the way he just completely manhandled Hulk.
Yeah,
it was just brilliant. And I said the way that he
and it's the audience watching, and they just went silent when he threw him the first time. Hulk.
Oh yeah, because they're all thinking that Hulk's just going to obliterate him in 2 seconds, and it's just like, oh shit,
it's a real fight.
This is and even like the way that Grandmaster's like looking on, and it's like he's like panicking. Yeah, because it's. No one's ever. No
one's ever really gotten a hit in.
It's all Dougs, isn't it? It's just been a bunch of Dougs. Another day, another Doug. But after the fight, Thor tries to get Valkyrie and Hulk to help him again, but they won't. He ends up finding Hulk's Quinjet, and then Hulk ends up turning back into Banner, and he finds out he's been 2 years. This whole thing, I think there's like 2 scenes, all the banter between Hulk and... I mean, Hulk's brilliant as well. How have they turned Hulk? And he's not even smart Hulk.
Yeah.
It's Hulk who's never really said anything other than pure
Well, this is
God.
the thing. Yeah, Hulk's had kind of quite a transformation between his relationship with Banner and him, because he's always been pretty much just Hulk. But there's more of a mind in Hulk this time.
He's so funny.
For
starters,
really
when he stands up completely bollogo, and Thor's like, it's stuck in my brain. And then when they start fighting, Hulk's like, baby arms, your baby arms.
It's just such stupid childish
Stupid Avenger and tiny Avenger.
What made me laugh even more was when Banner puts his hand on the ship, it then calls him the strongest Avenger.
Yeah.
And then Thor's face is like, because
he's called Point Break. Damn you, Stark. I also thought it was
and then
good.
He dresses up as Tony.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and the whole time his pants are too tight, and he's constantly pulling his crotch down. It's just brilliant. And I thought it was good as well when Thor throws that. He's obviously trying to play this really cool when it's like Valkyrie says no, she's going to open, and he grabs the ball and throws it at the window, and it just comes smashing back in face. It's so good, and it's like we go from the dynamic between Hulk and Thor being hilarious, and then as soon as we get Banner back, it changes completely, but it doesn't change.
Yeah.
They've still got like a complete banter between them,
and it's
the whole time.
when he keeps telling each one that he likes the other one better, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean. I just think that's dead funny as well, because he's obviously
don't even like Banner. Yeah, don't even like the Hulk. He's all like, oh, fighty, and all that sort of stuff. And he's like, Banner, oh, he's all like, I like numbers and all that sort of stuff.
And the bumbling thing that you said about when he puts the finger over his head and Valkyrie's like, you're not even covering your face. And he goes, I can do this with it. It's just so pathetic, but it's brilliant.
It's so good. So anyway, so Hulk's gone, obviously he's turned back into Banner. Thor's escaped, and the Grandmaster's obviously fuming because his champions disappeared. So he orders Loki and Valkyrie to find Thor and Hulk. We get that Valkyrie flashback, which we'll talk about in a sec. She ends up taking Loki prisoner and decides to help at that point. So they end up freeing the other gladiators. They steal the ship, and then they leave Loki because he betrays them. And then they fly through the devil's anus to go back to Asgard, which again is just brilliant. So the Valkyrie flashback, I thought was really well done. Very Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
It was only literally this second just thought of that. The fact that it's slow mo all the way through, the dark, the grey, very like monotone colour all the way through. It did look like it was directed by Zack Snyder, but at least on this one we just got it for 30 seconds rather than 4 hours.
Yeah.
In like the Justice League, we see Get Help. Get Help's good.
Get Help.
I like
that
Get Help.
Was improvised. That whole scene, you know.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Chris and Tom just did it. It was
just
like let's do Get Help. And I'm like, what is that? And it's literally him just throwing stuff.
I like that.
the people. Quick, get help. He needs help. Help him.
Talking about Loki, then I thought there was a bit of development for Loki. So the fact that Thor says like, "Oh, I thought the world of you," and it's like he's never really hated him. Just go, even though he'd said that he told Valkyrie and Banner about the when he turned into a snake. He's like, "I love snakes." And he jumped him. He was like, and stabbed you and all that sort of stuff.
And he jumped up and was like, and then he stabbed me, and I was like,
he was 8. He was only 8. So stupid. So but he ends, as we've already thought about it, really, he betrays Thor, but he does say it's nothing personal, and I think again he would have rather ruled with Thor.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. If Thor's not playing ball, he's not willing to. And I think we get to the point where he changes towards the end of the film, don't we? So that he's like completely now on board with it. But it shows he's. I think he's still struggling with it. He wants to be good, but he can't. But he can't be good.
Yeah.
Thor. I think Thor's kind of got onto the fact that that's where he is now as well.
Yeah.
Because he's just like he knew the betrayal was coming.
Yeah.
And it's like.
So he just has the plan
like,
B backed up ready.
Yeah, that's it. You know, if you're not gonna be like this, if you're not gonna help, then we'll just leave you here. You're gonna leave me here, I'll leave you here. Yeah. So it's as easy as that. I also thought it was good obviously we get the "It's My Birthday" in the ship, which we played the other week. Again, just so random. But then I love
that this is where he has his orgies, and then he's like,
I know,
don't touch anything.
And talking about like Thor being a bumbling idiot to being a badass. Him and Valkyrie
just jumping from ship to ship,
ripping them apart with the hands. I think Valkyrie's got a sword at one point, but they are just ripping these things. They're spaceships, and they're ripping them apart with bare hands. And then obviously the Devil's Anus. They've called the. And it got me
coming up to the Devil's Anus.
I know, but it was like we're talking about like R-rated and stuff like that. This is probably. I know it wasn't obviously R-rated, but this is probably like the closest to. It's quite. Like risque, for want of a better word. Yeah. Because it's like it seems like there's more swearing in this one than any of the Marvel films.
And there's a lot of penis jokes.
There's a lot, and anus jokes.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's getting there, isn't it? I bet this was probably like the closest one where it almost definitely. It almost didn't get the PG-13. I would guess. So we go back to Asgard, and Hela's found Heimdall and the Asgardians, and then Thor shows up to fight her. We get Banner turns into Hulk again and fights I've written the big dog, I think it's called Ventress. The Loki and the Gladiators.
Hang on. Can we just hold off a second?
What?
When Bruce finally says to Valkyrie, I'm going to show you what they mean. And then he dives onto the bridge, but doesn't change. And you just hear, dum, dum, dum. And then the wolf just steps over him and carries on. I laughed so much at it. It was so good.
It's brilliant. And then so Loki and the Gladiators show up. Thor loses his eye, but then he has this vision from Odin, and then that's when he goes on like full on God of Thunder, not God of Hammers, God of Thunder, which is brilliant. So yeah, I've written that Banner smashing into the bridge, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Loki. So Loki rolls up, doesn't he? And he does that classic thing where he comes up and he's got his arms outstretched and he's like, your savior is here. And it just made me think he's good again at this point because he's jumping between.
He's good because it fits for him. That's the thing, isn't it?
Think and it got me thinking this. He just wants to be worshipped, and he just wants to be the leader. Like the whole thing on Sakaar was he wanted to take over from the Grand Master and run Sakaar. He was happy, and it got me thinking as well. He was when he was running Asgard. Yeah. He must have been running Asgard for 2 years. Yeah, at least 2 years. At no point, as far as we know, did he lead Asgard into taking over other realms or destroying anything. He was just happy.
Just making the statue of himself.
He was just happy being the leader. He just wants to be worshipped. Yeah. So he's
because
he's
been in a line of royal blood his whole life. Yeah. But was again pushed to the shadows. He was pushed back because everyone was better than him, and he was just completely overlooked. Yeah. And he just doesn't want to be overlooked, and it's that inferiority complex. So that's why he wants to be worshipped.
So with him,
that's how I see it. Anyway.
Yeah. With him, he just wants to be.
So he just wants to be somebody that's
and he's not even. We'll talk about it in a bit more detail in a second. But even when Thor powers up, the last thing we see before we see Thor come down and the Immigrant Song kick off is Loki smiling. Yeah. And it's like there's no jealousy there at all. It's just like, that's my brother. Yeah. He's going to absolutely kick the shit out of these now. And I'm dead happy about it. There's no like, Thor's coming in to save the day. Because he's got his place. He's happy. And it's like he's completely gone over to the light side. Because
he's saving the people, isn't he?
Yeah.
Thor's going into fight, but he's the one rescuing. So he's got that power there.
He's perfectly happy with it. And then that's when we see Thor doing the power up. Considering it's the second time we've heard the song in the film, it just didn't seem old or forced or anything like that. I've watched this scene so many times with him powering up. Yeah, it's just absolutely.
So it's such a good fight scene in general because you've got. I mean, there's so much going on in this one fight. So you've got Valkyrie shooting from the ship. Yeah. You've got Banner ends up changing. Because when he falls into the water with the dog, and then you've got Hulk fighting the dog. Yeah. You've then got Thor fighting
right on the edge of Asgard.
Right, you've got him fighting Thor, and then you've also late to the game, but then Scourge,
yeah,
and
Loki
off.
And Heimdall as well.
Yeah, like, and this is what I mean, like Heimdall, and then Korg turns up. Yeah. We've got a ship. Do you want to come with us?
The whole scene, so the whole act, and the thought of putting the Immigrant Song over it, it fits so well. It's just, you know what, The best bit is just that moment where it's very slow motion and it's just Thor coming down to the bridge and it's just the very start of Immigrant
Song.
Song.
And have you thought the fact, like, obviously being the immigrant song as well, and they're all about to leave their country,
Didn't even think of that,
home
but no.
planet. Like, so that's what they all become.
Deep that, aren't they?
I know, but like,
it's good.
And I just think it's so clever, like how it all mixes into one another.
Yeah.
I just think it's brilliant. And specifically when Thor announces the plan was supposed to cause Ragnarok, not stop it.
Yes.
And then Loki's response to that, because he basically says that's mental even for me.
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
And I love that because I was
the fact
like,
that he acknowledges he's crazy.
Loki's like, even I wouldn't have thought of this kind of thing, and I've been causing quite a lot of shit.
yeah. But it also shows. I mean, it's the next thing I've got written down, but it leads into it. It also shows this now. Loki's character development to in my opinion complete good, because Thor is basically saying you go and get the crown, you go and create right there in front of you the monster that's going to destroy Asgard. Loki's properly putting himself in harm's way there. He could have taken that ship and gone, but he put himself right in the thick of it and potentially could have died to save Thor and the Asgardians, which just shows and the fact that he comes back at the end as well. It's like he could have got off. He had the Tesseract the whole time. He could have got off with the Tesseract, but he's come back to his brother because it just shows the transitions complete. And then spoilers for Infinity War, he dies in the first 2 minutes. It's like I'm glad we're getting the Loki series, but I'm gutted that it's not that Loki. Because I think that Loki's character arc was.
But
perfect.
then part of me thinks, is Loki's journey always predetermined for him to end up like that? So do we get to see that transition all over again?
Do you know what?
Which I think could be really enjoyable, because I think we've enjoyed it so much the first time without getting as much of his story as we would like to get, whereas this time the focus will be on him and that change.
Well, we're not even finished the film yet, but I'm going back to news that I didn't put in the news this week, because I saw it about 2 minutes before we started recording the podcast. And Tom Hiddleston's he's doing loads of interviews, obviously, because we're in the build up to it. And he said in an interview, which I kind of think we already knew, but he said to a degree, he said that the role of the TVA, who he obviously starts working for in Loki, is to completely determine the course of time. And if somebody changes something off what their planned route is, that's when they get involved. So you're talking about it like being fate, that Loki was supposed to become good. By him grabbing the Tesseract, it's taken him off that path. So maybe the TVA aren't really getting him involved, as well as to fix the problems. The TVA might be stepping in because we need good Loki. And it's to turn him back to take him from the evil Loki that he was in Avengers to that. And I wonder whether that's... I never even thought of it that way, but
then the other thing is, if he's part of that, isn't he getting everything he wanted?
He is, because he's going to be the savior.
Because he can control time. He can do it.
I can't wait for Loki.
It's a bit like those... I mean, there's been films in the past, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now, but where you have a group of people who are popping into certain time points to fix things that are going off the path,
like Quantum Leap and sliders and stuff.
That kind of thing. So whether it's going to be something like that.
I think so. I think you might be onto that there. So we then see I was going to say Korg become king. Korg should become king. Thor becomes king. He reconciles with Loki. Loki really shows up, as we've just said, and then before they head to Earth. And I thought something I've never picked up on before. When he sort of goes to the front of the ship and he sits in the throne, it's the music from when he came back to life at the end of Thor 1.
Oh, is it?
And I hated that music. I said on the podcast it was cheesy and shit, but I think it's been slightly tweaked. But it just I just didn't hate it. It just sort of fit properly with the moment. And then we get Korg again with Meek's dead. Meek's dead.
I stepped on him.
Squished him, I think he says. Squished him on the bridge. And he gets up and he's like, he's alive! What was your question, bro?
My favourite bit with Korg on that is when he's like, as long as the foundations still hold, we can create this new place and rebuild
it. It'll be a haven for people.
Oh no, the foundations are gone.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
And then that's pretty much it. So we get mid-credit scene which is, I don't even know if there's any talking in it, but it's Thor and Loki, and Thanos' ship shows up.
Yeah.
And again, something I never noticed.
I don't think there is any talking. It's literally just that Thanos'
the
ship.
So
and the
up.
size difference.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Massive. But Thor looks puzzled, for want of a better word, because he's not got any idea what it is. Loki, if you look at Loki's face, he knows full well who this is, and he is shitting himself. He's not happy at all.
Yeah.
And then, we know why. And then the post-credit scene, the very last scene of it, the Grandmaster. Well done. Let's call it a tie. Jeff Goldblum.
We'll go off our separate ways.
we need to get. I hope we get more of. I hope we get more of him.
So do I.
So in all the film, I thought I already thought it was a brilliant film. It's now up there. It's one of my top favourites. Yeah, it's brilliant. We said this at the very start. I've never really struggled with Thor 1 and 2 and even Avengers to sort of focus on Loki.
Yeah.
And I've always seen Thor as the weakest element in all those films, to be fair. It felt like the first actual Thor film rather than just him being someone in the film.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Thor himself, and again we've said Chris Hemsworth, down to Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi, he was in my opinion the standout of the film. And when you're considering the caliber of the other actor, I mean Taika Waititi is Korg, Tom Hiddleston's great and everything, Jeff Goldblum, Tessa Thompson, it's for him to be the standout character in my opinion.
And even Kate Blanchett coming in,
he was absolutely brilliant.
And it just goes to show you as well that because a lot of the time you hear people call actors bad actors over a performance. And it's not necessarily down to that. I'm not going to say that for everyone because
some people,
my opinions about Nicolas Cage, for example.
It's just the writing. Ghost Rider's the right. It was just the writing on Ghost Rider.
But you can see that the writing or the direction and things like that can completely change something for a character.
But if you look as well, though, if you think about Chris Hemsworth's career, think of, I mean, he's in bigger films, not bigger than MCU, but he seems to be a lot more.
I also noticed that ever since the change in Thor, the other roles that he's taken, he's been able to take the piss out of himself a lot more. Yeah,
but he gets more. He seems to get
more. But he gets more because of it.
Men in Black and that Extraction on Netflix.
I think what we're finding nowadays is that a lot of actors who take themselves far too seriously end up not doing as well overall as the people who, and big things that have helped with that are things like SNL. People jumping in and doing that and just completely taking the piss out of themselves, and it makes such a difference, and it makes them more likable as an actor as well. So you'll more likely want to see them in something that they're going to do. I mean, you look, for example, and I know that it got slated, but if you look at Ghostbusters and Chris Hemsworth's character in that. Again, it's Thor, but even further.
It is just
because
Thor
it's
with no powers.
Completely stupid. The fact that he's got a dog called Cat and all that kind of stuff, or whatever it is, he's just ridiculous.
His name's not Cat. It's Michael Hart.
Mike Hart, yeah.
Can I bring Mike Hart away? Well, I just can't. He's a dog.
That was it.
It's such a bad film. That was brilliant.
Do you know what? I actually didn't hate that film either. But I just, as I say, the fact that they can really take the piss out of themselves, it makes a huge difference for me.
But I think the whole film was about that. I found something I wrote down after watching it. I feel like the film was very self-aware that it was a silly comic book movie in the way that it looked, the tone, the acting and the writing. And I think if you, not necessarily to the same degree as this, but if you look at every MCU movie after this, they're all a little bit more self-aware. It's like they've taken, it's like even
it's like everything's being taken with a pinch of salt.
It's like they've looked at it, and it's look at even down to the costumes in the movie,
camp
in the movies
it up and
now.
make it that little bit more comic booky.
But it's kind of
fun.
But it's they've hit that perfect balance where it's not stupid comic booky like Ghost Rider. It's aware that it's a comic book movie, and it's like we'll push it just as far as we can push it, and then we'll leave it there.
Teeter on the edge.
It's all been since this film. It seems to.
It was a turning point. That and the Guardian films.
I think the Guardians were the first
started
step
to introduce it.
Yeah, and then this is Taika's taken the formula of the Guardians movies, which was almost. I mean, I love the Guardians films, but I think it was 99% there, and Taika's just gone, this is how you perfect that, and he's perfected it.
Do you know what? For me, like Guardians 2, the whole Celestial storyline and his dad, I didn't actually like that very much.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I loved the film.
Yeah.
And because I loved everything about everybody else. I had questionable moments with Mantis and stuff like that, but it was fun because it was starting to take this formula. And again,
they've taken Drax and made a whole film out of Drax's humour, isn't it? Of like him being a bit stupid. But yeah, brilliant film. Loki. I know it's not. I know we've got 2 more films for Loki, but it's kind of the end of Loki's arc, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're gonna cover Infinity War and Endgame, but brilliant film.
Thanks, Disney.
It's got. I know. Yeah. Well done. But this has got me proper excited for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. And me. I can't wait.
Cannot wait.
My only question is, because we've got Thor 4 and then we've got Guardians 3 after that.
Yeah.
Are the Guardians going to be in Thor 4?
Yeah.
Has that been?
Yeah, they're all the Guardians are in Thor 4.
Okay.
I don't know about Gamora, but I think everyone else has been on set. Nebula and everything. They're all.
Oh, okay.
Kraglin.
Oh, really?
Kraglin's been seen. Yeah. Sean Gunn's been seen on set as well. Yeah.
Amazing.
So they're all back.
I was wondering because obviously he leaves with them, doesn't he? So I was just curious.
And the costumes look really comic book. Like the Star-Lord costume looks like classic Star-Lord from the comics. Like the bluey jacket instead. So more like a bit like similar to the picture I've seen. He looks similar to like how the Nova Corps dress in Guardians 1. So yeah, that'll be really good. Should we do? We've got a name for the segment, but we're not quite ready for it yet.
No.
So we'll do the name. We'll do the name next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But we're gonna go through listeners' thoughts and theories. We've not really got that many theories this week. It's more thoughts and opinions on Thor Ragnarok. So we asked you on Facebook and Instagram, because we're going to Instagram this week.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram and Twitter to let us know what your thoughts were on the movie and or what were your favourite parts on the movie. And loads of you got in touch. So Anthony, do you want to go through them for us?
Yeah. Okay. So our first one from Twitter was from Rob Herald of Galactus. He said, "Hail Kirby," and he absolutely loved Executioner. The reference to Kirby is obviously Jack Kirby, who was a Marvel artist. This was kind of the first movie that really kind of encompassed his style. With I can't remember the name of the planet again. Sakaar again.
Yeah, I think they've probably tried to get it in previous movies, but this was the movie that got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hit the nail on the head kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And Scourge as well was amazing.
Scourge, it was just brilliant. And again, like, all the way through with him, because we didn't really talk about him very much.
He kind of had like a Loki arc, didn't he?
Yeah, well, no, I don't even think... I think he enjoyed, like, the stuff. The responsibility that he had, because he's getting stuff and he's getting girls and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then the second that Hell asked him to be Executioner, he goes, I like the sound of that, but the reality of doing it straight off, he hates it, and you can see that all the way through. But it's the fear, isn't it? Because she could just take him out in a second.
If he doesn't do as he's told, she'll just kill him, which she does.
Yeah. Also on Twitter, we had a message from We Needed Roads podcast. Perhaps my favourite MCU film. Also, Piss Off Ghost.
Piss Off Ghost. Amazing.
Fab.
Amazing.
And then we've also got Ethan from 15 Minutes of Marvel. Best poster work of any single MCU movie, hands down.
Definitely.
No contest. I mean, look at that. And yeah, I mean...
He's got a picture. He sends us a picture of the Thor Ragnarok poster. It is brilliant.
Yeah. He's got the 2 swords in his hand. He's got red powder flying at him.
Yeah,
best way to describe it.
Even the main poster, the yellow one where they're all on it, which I'll have put on Twitter by this point. The Loki Ragnarok poster that we made this week as well.
Then we've also got Laura Cunningham favourite moment, definitely, and it's the "Your Saviour is Here" from Loki as he comes off. I love the fact as well with that I don't know whether it's cloud or mist or
an
what.
ambulance is just flown past that house.
All right, a cloud or mist or whatever comes past, kind of breaks through, and that's where you see Loki. And do you know what the pose reminded me a lot of? The
Titanic.
No, the Jesus one, and that's because obviously big religion thing. That kind of stood out to me. Yeah. So, got Paul Sears on Twitter as well. Korg deserves his own film. Make it happen, Marvel.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're about to jump on the ginormous spaceship. You want to come?
Do you know what we need?
It's so funny.
Disney Plus is the perfect opportunity to have a Korg
Yeah.
series. Shorts, just Korg and Meek shorts,
like
a couple of 5-minute episodes.
Yeah, something
I
like
would
that.
not be surprised if when Thor and Thunder comes out, we get like six Korg shorts.
It'd be so. Do you know what? Even if they did Korg shorts at the beginning of, like Disney Pixar does all like the little shorts before the film start. Like if they did something like that with side characters just here and there, it'd be brilliant.
Just one at the start of Thor and Thunder.
Be hilarious.
Amazing.
MCU and Me podcast. As a recent inductee to the MCU, I can safely say this was my favourite film. Its tone just can't be beat. Waititi knows what's up.
It does.
I completely agree.
Can't even argue with that.
Then on Facebook, I'm only going to do first names. I'm not going to do last names as well.
Yeah.
So we've got Beth on Facebook who said we have got to address the fantastic play in Asgard and get help.
Matt Damon.
And but there's another one who's happy to take the piss out of himself.
Yeah.
After that Matt Damon thing, I noticed he did a lot more roles where it's like do you know he was in an episode of Will and Grace? Matt Damon.
No.
He was a straight guy pretending to be a gay guy so that he could join a gay choir because he was good at singing. But he'd get drowned out by the other straight men, and the gay men kind of loved it more. Amazing. So he pretended to be gay to do it. Amazing. So he's dead camp and stuff, and then Jack finds out that he's not really gay, and it's really funny.
He takes piss out of himself in Jimmy Kimmel. Have you seen like the little?
I don't think I have,
Oh, him and Jimmy Kimmel have got like a joke.
Yeah.
They hate each other. Have you never seen him?
No.
I'm fucking Ben Affleck.
No.
On YouTube. Oh, what YouTube?
I'll look it up.
If no one's seen that, just Google I'm fucking Ben Affleck. It's brilliant. I'll show you after the podcast.
Okay. Then I've got Michael saying, for me, it's certainly between Cate Blanchett, who played the perfect over-the-top campy villain, which was a nice change from the very grounded, serious villains we usually get. Yeah. Completely agree. She's easily top 3 Marvel villains for me. I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah. There's not much to compete with, but yeah, definitely.
I also really loved Sir Anthony's little appearance. He sort of played his role of someone who knows he's dying and losing his faculties, but the last actions of his life were to help his people and his sons. Yeah. And I think that's what, we've also got to remember that Odin's now been on Earth for 2 years at that point.
Yes.
And all he's had time to do really is reflect.
Yeah.
And he's probably gone. Yeah, I was an arsehole. I was a terrible, terrible person. Yeah. And the things that he will have witnessed in the 2 years day to day, on Earth, the little things that he would have never thought of,
all beneath
the
him.
boot.
Yeah.
So, he also said, can our fave thing also just be just having Taika Waititi involved in the Marvel universe? He made the Thor solo movies fun again.
Yeah.
Agree. Sean said, not to forget Valkyrie's intro, badass and hilarious.
Yeah. That was good. We didn't really touch on that. Even the whole her foot drunkenly falling off the side of the ship.
Yeah,
sort of stuff. Yeah.
She was brilliant. And then on our Instagram one, we got Davey A. Temmins, a great Marvel superhero movie, like the Gladiator version of Hulk. Casting Jeff Goldblum was a superb choice in my opinion. Doesn't take itself too serious and shows on screen as a cool comedic movie. Yeah. Agree.
Jeff Goldblum was brilliant.
There's also got a Loki series theory on this one.
This is off.
This was
Nate,
off
I think.
Nate. Yeah. So he basically says that he believes Hela will turn up in the series to some degree. That'd be good. Which would be quite a shock as well if they've kept it under wraps as well. Yeah. With it being Cate Blanchett, if they've kept that, it'd be quite interesting to see where that would go and the dynamic between them, because again, they are quite similar and didn't really. At the moment,
anyway. Yeah.
At the moment, yeah. So
you'd probably want to work with her and help her.
Yeah, and we didn't see a lot between them two at all.
We didn't get the opportunity.
We got the fight during them going through the Bifrost, and that was it.
When you think about it, though, they didn't. Even Thor and Hela didn't have that much interaction.
No.
But yeah, certainly Loki, who like I said, would have pre his turn into a good guy, just have been like, yeah, go on, I'll do what you. He would have just been Scourge and just been like, I'll be your executioner. I'll do whatever you want, sort of thing. So it would be quite interesting to see them. A bit more interaction with them too. Thanks everybody for sending all your thoughts and theories. We will have a name for the segment next week and potentially a jingle.
Yeah,
we might have
exciting.
A jingle. It depends how. Let's say it comes out. Not. We've got somebody making a jingle for us. It sounds brilliant so far, but I've got to do something to it, and I'll probably just kill it. So should we wrap up then?
Yeah.
Right, so if you want to get in touch with us like everybody else has there with the thoughts and theories, you can find us on pretty much all the socials. So we're on Twitter at Superhero Thing. We're on Facebook, that Superhero Thing. We've also got a group on there, which is where the listeners on Facebook sent over their messages. Go in, join the group where me and Anthony are always on there chatting shit, basically. having a gab, so feel free to chat shit with us. We're on Instagram as well. We don't really talk about Instagram, but we've had somebody contact us this week on it, so we're gonna sell it. So on Instagram, we're at that Superhero Thing on there. Alternatively, you can send us an email if you don't want anybody else to see it and you want it to be a surprise for the podcast. It's info@thatsuperherothing.com. Alternatively, you can just go to the website, which is thatsuperherothing.com. All the social links are on there. There's also a contact us section on the website where you can leave a voice message.
Yeah.
And if you leave us any questions, thoughts, theories on there, we can include your voice message on the podcast. I will try and figure out how to incorporate a voice message, but if we get one, I'll figure it out.
We've also got the TikTok now.
We've got a
We
TikTok.
have
Anthony's
joined
got a
TikTok.
I don't know what TikTok is, but Anthony seems to know how to do it. So blame him.
To be honest, it's nothing dramatic. It's just a bit of fun, little bits and pieces. We're kind of putting some of our favourite scenes on there and stuff like that. Little audio clips from the episodes and things. Just a little bit of fun. So obviously you can always.
Is there a specific name, or did he just say it's that superhero thing?
It's I can't remember now whether it's that superhero thing or just superhero thing. But it's one of the two.
Just check both.
I'll double check. Yeah, I'll double check it, and we'll make sure we've got it written down.
We'll put it on Twitter.
Yeah,
we'll put it on Twitter. That's how prepared we are. As we said, if you have enjoyed the podcast and you do enjoy listening to the podcast, please do leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or to be fair, wherever you listen to podcasts. It really does make a massive difference. It helps us get discovered. It helps us get out there a little bit more.
Yeah,
and obviously get new listeners to the podcast. And then next week, we will be wrapping up, as we've said, the Loki countdown. So we will be doing Infinity War and Endgame. I think we'll probably try and focus on the Loki parts more, and then sort of skip through the best parts of the movie. Otherwise, we'll be here all day, and we don't want to be putting out a 4-hour podcast because we've not got time. So come back for that, and then the week after that, we're into Loki.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I know.
Exciting times. So I think that's everything from me. Thanks very much for listening. We'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.